And of course, you have to have a co-host.
Oh yes, my co-hosts are downstairs with me. Oh,
He
I need a
insisted.
pen. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm off screen. I cleaned up my desk and forgot a pen.
I
For
was I
taking
was gonna, and
right.
then I just gave up and accepted. Yeah, this is just always my desk. It's just always gonna have piles of notes of things to do.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, we are live. Hello, everyone. Um, Welcome back to the show. If you're new here, hi, hello. My name's Katie. I am one of the co-hosts for Star Wars Alliance, and our other co-host, Clay, had to work tonight. Clay, we miss you, I promise. But joining me tonight is Jordan, an administrator from Wikipedia. Jordan, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing very well. Thank you for having us on. It's very nice to meet you, and good that we could finally find the time to make this work.
Yes, because originally we were gonna like have you on for an Obi-Wan Kenobi review, and then that didn't work because you went to Star Wars Celebration and lost your voice. So, and then we just couldn't find the time. But now we're here. Everything worked out. If you clicked the link on YouTube, you saw the title for today's episode. Um, that's probably the biggest topic we have to talk about today, because today is just going to be a news day, pretty much. Kind of skipped it last week, talking about the finale as well with Thanksgiving last week. So we have a couple things to talk about, but I think today's gonna be pretty quick. But before we get into it, I have to hit podcast paperwork side of things. Star Wars Alliance is a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance podcast network. We have 8 shows, 7 days a week, and you can check all those out in the description box below for your reading pleasure. There are also 3 ways to support the show and the podcast as a whole. The first way is via Patreon, where we have 2 tiers. The $5 tier gets y'all ad-free episodes, exclusive episodes, and any early episodes we may drop, as well as access to our monthly Patreon call-in show. So you can check that out there if you're interested. The second way to support us is by listening to ads on the show. We are not a supported show, ad supported network. I will give you a warning before those ads are to occur, but just so you know now, we don't get to choose who the ads are from, nor how many times you hear the same ad in the same episode, nor how loud those ads are, so that we're just helping prepare those volume levels. Again, we appreciate it as it helps support the show. The final way to support us is via taking 30 seconds and rating or reviewing us on your favorite podcatcher of choice. Those reviews help put us into the feeds of other listeners who may not be following us on social media. We have David in the chat tonight. Uh, David Reese is one of our patrons. David, thanks for being a patron. He said, "Hi, Jordan. Wikipedia is amazing. Keep up the great work."
Hi, David. Thanks for joining us, and we're always happy to. We all do this just because we love it.
You know, and we're gonna talk a little bit about it because I've always been curious. Like how does one get started with Wikipedia, or what's the best way to get involved? But we're gonna talk about news first. So we're gonna save the big topic for last. The first bit of news to talk about, because really quick, but the potential next wave for the Essential Legends collection has been leaked. I know leaks are never like one of the fun things about working on these, but for me, these are some of my favorite books that are dropping. And so the books that are dropping are Star Wars: The Old Republic, Fatal Alliance by Sean Williams, Outbound Flight by Timothy Zahn, Survivor's Quest by Timothy Zahn, and Republic Commando 000 by Karen Travis. And those are rumored, because it's leaked, to be coming in August 2023. So what do you think about this being the next wave?
Oh, all fantastic. Outbound Flight was definitely one of my favorites when I was growing up. Anything by Timothy Zahn. It was Heir to the Empire that kind of got me into this. So it's great to see a new generation of fans getting introduced to some of his earlier works.
Yeah, I love both of those books. And Outbound Flight and Survivor's Quest are kind of like a duo, because Outbound Flight is taking place in the prequel time frame where Survivor's Quest is taking place after Luke and Mara get married, roughly 20 or so years after Return of the Jedi. I think
It
is
was
what it
somewhere
is.
around there, yeah. And the cool thing about Outbound Flight is when Timothy Zahn was doing his canon Thrawn series, he actually wrote it in a way that you could headcanon Outbound Flight in very easily. He wrote
Yes.
it just to mesh perfectly with it.
I loved that so much because the part that Jordan's talking about is the Thras parts where you see kind of the conversation happening in um I can't read the titles on my books on my phone. It's the third Thrawn Ascendancy book is what it is. But you get like that perspective where they're crashing Outbound Flight down. And so I hadn't read Outbound Flight at that point, but I had known that's what he was trying to connect it to. So when I read Outbound Flight, you appreciate it all the more. So I'm excited to see when those covers and when it's officially announced for the drop, because those are definitely, at least for Outbound Flight and Survivor's Quest, those are two I'm going to pick up immediately. I haven't read 000, and Failed Alliance was fine. I guess I'm more of like a Luke and Leia type person, so I always am going to gravitate more towards the backends versus the front half, I think. Do you have a preference?
Not particularly, to be honest. I tend to just kind of gravitate towards like a little bit of everything.
I gotcha. That's the best part of it, though, is you can pick and choose what you love, and it's still there, even though it's no longer canon.
Legends tends to be the thing that I kind of maybe lean a little bit more towards, just because that was kind of my comfort thing growing up. So that's kind of always got, special place in the heart.
Yep.
But I'm loving everything that the new canon authors are doing. There's just so many wonderful people working on it.
Absolutely. I love the authors. They're fantastic. And you can't see it, but over there on the other side of the room, I have the entire Legends collection on a shelf. So in the mass market paperbacks.
Hey, there's always room for more editors on Wikipedia. We could always use some help filling out some old Legends content.
I know. It's all a matter of time, though. It's all a matter of time.
Oh, something we know all too well. There's just, between everything coming out and everything that has come out so far this year, there's just never enough time to keep up with everything, especially when, everyone on Wikipedia is entirely a volunteer who has, an entire life outside of the site, including jobs, schools, and everything.
Yep. So the next bit of news is actually something related to The Acolyte. We did get the casting announcement from StarWars.com, which I greatly appreciated, which did confirm that Daphne Keane, who was X-23 in Logan and is currently one of the main stars in his Dark Materials, she was talking with Tick Radar promoting the final season of his Dark Materials, and stated that the Acolyte contextually is set roughly 100 years before the prequel movies, and it's kind of an explanation of how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi. It is a Sith-led story which has never been done before. It's been really fun to film. The cast is amazing, and the director and crew are just lovely. The whole experience is wonderful, and I'm already excited for people to see it. So that's like, we knew it was going to like revolve around the Sith, but like infiltrating the Jedi, that's interesting. Would you say?
Oh, definitely. I think that's something that probably everyone's wanted to see, regardless of when you became a Star Wars fan. I'm sure that's something that everyone wants to see, is just kind of how did the master plan initially come to fruition? Where did it begin? If I'm being honest, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that headline that it was going to be about infiltrating the Jedi, the first thing that I thought of was the old the Old Republic MMO trailer, where you have the Sith attacking the Jedi Temple.
Okay.
Which probably
I've
won't
actually never
happen,
played that
but
game.
it's such a time sink, but it is so worth it.
I know I'm not a video game person. Like, I still haven't finished the Cal Kestis video game.
Oh, Fallen Order.
Yeah, and I had that and was like, no, that's totally wrong. That's not it. And then, oh well.
It's okay.
So
You have until Sam Magg's new novel, I believe it's Jedi Survivor, comes out next year. You have until then to finish it.
I think I'm gonna watch the cutscenes. That'll be that. I'll call it a day there. Uh, no, so I'm very excited for this. First of all, I loved Daphne in Logan, and I thought she was great. So getting to see her in a Star Wars is something that I'm very excited for. Um, Sith infiltrating the Jedi, like, and I know, like you said, it was Old Republic, but then we also had the last series from Star Wars Legends. It's not Legacy, it's the other one, but with Vestatra Kai, like
Oh,
working with Ben
Vistara
and Luke.
Kai
Yeah.
with the Lost
Uh
Tribe of the Sith.
yeah, that one. Oh, I love those books so much, and I know everyone called them super weird, but
Oh, it
I
was
would
a
love to see
great
those.
series.
I loved those so
It's
much.
honestly, it's a great series that just never really got the love that it actually deserved.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Um, so I'm excited to see it, and obviously we're gonna keep getting more information about it. I'm really surprised they let her say that much about the show. So yeah, but I'm again, we'll see. Uh, Currently set to maybe be talking about the Acolyte and its premiere date, probably very late into 2023 or early 2024 with what they're filming right now. So we're still looking ahead in the production schedule, but we will see. We'll see what happens.
Here's hoping that by then we can maybe have the site kind of at least up to date on Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor and Bad Batch Season 2 and Tales of the Jedi and everything else.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I could not imagine keeping track of all that because like I have enough hard time like trying to figure out like all the Easter eggs and stuff. Oh,
If it's any consolation to anyone like who's watching this or listening to this right now, we don't really have the ability to keep track of everything either. Everyone just does what they do.
well, the next bit of news we have is an interview that Denise Goff did on becoming Dedra Miro. And it is an interview in Empire. So you can check out the full interview there. But she kind of talked about starting off filming and then what to expect for season 2. And the first thing that I kind of found interesting of all this was that A, Tony Gilroy roped her in with scripts for the first 3 episodes of Andor, which Dedra's not even in the first 3 episodes. And then the first thing that was filmed for Andor was actually the finale on Ferrix with like the march and everything. And she said, I got to set and I was immediately handed 2 death troopers. One had to relearn how to walk because he wasn't walking menacingly enough. And I just it's that's so interesting to me, like the way filming works. And it does kind of explain some of my reservations with like some of Dedra's scenes, especially the scene in the closet with Cyril. How did you feel about that scene?
At first, I'll be honest, my at first, because I was like I was very sleep deprived when I actually initially watched the finale, and I was thinking, "Oh, that's cool. They can finally." And then it kind of clicked. Wait a minute, no. Last episode, he was being very stalkerish. No.
Hmm. Yeah, I get it, but like that scene in the closet, it just felt so creepy, and it didn't feel like what they had been doing previously with
It
like the
really
tension and
didn't.
everything.
No, and especially how she was just on the one hand, like she did a very good job portraying like her kind of like her fear, anxiety, and
Hmm.
like just kind of her general anger about all of that. But it kind of felt contrary to how her character had been kind of like cold and calculating for the rest of the series.
Yeah, and I get she had like been almost stomped to death and stuff, but I was like, this this doesn't feel like a firm transition from the character we had gotten to so. The other thing that was interesting when talking about Andor season 2, which obviously we don't know the full plot line other than 3 episodes per year. Last arc is going to be right before Rogue One. Basically, Cassian's going to take off on the ship to go see his informant. But Denise said that she was really hoping to get Dedra out of uniform. She would look at Genevieve's costumes like, oh my God. And Michael Wilkinson, the costume director, um, she praised him a lot. And she said, I did one of my fittings and I put on an outfit and said, this is so Mon Mothma. I can't wear this, can I? And he was like, no. I would love to see Dedra like have to get out of uniform and see how uncomfortable she would be. I feel like.
Let's let's have a scene where she's forced to go to like a dinner party at Mon Mothma's residence and has to like get all dressed up, the whole 9 yards, for some sort of infiltration. Let's have that happen.
Oh yeah, that would be fun. That would really be fun. I would love that. Um, and then she said, I am going to Dedra the fuck out of the second season, which kind of brings us into our next topic, kind of, because the Ferrix like revolt was the first thing that was filmed. Originally, Fiona Shaw's speech, instead of fight the Empire, included fuck the Empire, which was not allowed. But I'm like, release the fuck cut. Which Disney will never do because they might allow like other words, but they're never going to put that on Disney Plus, I don't think. So
I don't think so, but I think we got the general vibe. We got the general vibe from what she was trying to say in that hologram.
Oh yeah,
I think we all knew what she was really trying to say.
Yeah.
And then just 100%. the first thing we see is him just clobbering a stormtrooper with her brick.
Like, that is such a
I love
good
this
scene.
woman.
I love Brasso.
Best thing is we now, because of her role in kind of starting that whole uprising, even though she wasn't alive for it, she's listed as a commander in the article on that page, or the article on that revolt.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, she did. She inspired it. She gave the speech, and technically speaking, she threw the first punch.
Yes, she did. Because apparently one of the theories was that Marva was not actually dead and was actually like filming the hologram for her eulogy like live and stuff. And so apparently Gilroy actually saw that theory and was like, oh, that's a fantastic idea. I love that. But no, Marva is actually dead. So
for most of the episode, I was wavering back and forth on like, did they actually, or is this kind of her ploy to be kind of an underground leader of this resistance? Then as soon as that the whole speech was like, oh yeah, she's not coming back.
Yeah.
Poor B2 though. Poor B2.
I feel so bad for him, and I'm just glad he survived.
I know. I think I probably would have started a Twitter riot if anything had happened to B2.
I think a lot of people would. I know Clay was like it. Clay and Zach, who Zach filled in for Clay when Clay was on paternity leave. Zach was like, if anything happens to B2, like I think I'm done. I don't want to watch anything more. Like no.
It was that moment though where he broke everyone's heart after her death, and Brasso was like, "Okay, it's time to go," and he's like, "Maybe I should stay just in case." And it's like, oh, B2, you're making me cry. It's like, okay, just one night, just give the droid what he wants.
It's so sad. He's lost everybody. Gilroy in another interview talked about how basically season 2 is going to work, and how the arcs will kind of be spread out. And so he said that the arcs are actually super condensed. They're like 3 days, 4 days, 2 weeks, 4 days. They're really tight. It's cool that way. You can go away for a year, come back for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then jump a year. So they won't be spread out. It won't be like block 2 takes place over another year. So they're very concentrated, which is fun. And then you have to account for all the negative space and what happened in the interim.
I actually really like that idea. Almost something, if anyone has seen the show 24, where it's kind of like you see a 24-hour window of a specific time period, and it just kind of covers that specific segment of what happened. I think that's a very cool way to do it.
I greatly appreciated that show because of like the one episode takes place over an hour. So like you're literally getting the whole thing.
Yeah,
And it helped like account for the whole time.
Yeah, it's like exactly here's what happened at the start of the day, here's what happened at the end of X day. It kind of gives you that deeper look into it instead of just showing you kind of the highlights. It's here's everything that happened.
Yeah. Okay, so the interviews with Deadline for Gilroy, and he at oh my gosh, words. The Deadline interviewer asked if Gilroy could give a small tease of what's to come in the second season. And Gilroy responded with, "We will be dealing with, by the time you get to Rogue One, you have the Rebel Alliance, which is a whole bunch of different disparate factions and people that have arrived at Yavin and have coalesced into what will become an organized rebellion. Well, we have 4 years to examine how difficult it is to put a revolution together, how difficult it is to become a leader, how difficult it is to become a victim." I feel like those are the specific arcs, and then we have like the big finale arc.
See, looking at that, I'm almost wondering if we're going to get like one arc specifically about kind of how these disparate groups, except for Krieger, come together and kind of create this beginnings of a rebellion. One of Cassian kind of taking on some leadership traits and maybe exploring a little more of his Marva side. And then maybe an episode of him kind of getting into the nitty gritty of the rebellion, how he talked about in Rogue One, how we've all done terrible things for this rebellion. It's kind of like the rise and fall of Cassian Andor.
Yeah, that could be a very good parallel because, see, like for me, I was like, oh, okay, becoming a leader. I would say that one's probably like Mon Mothma with the Gorman massacre.
Oh yeah, we have to get the Gorman massacre in this.
Yeah, 100%, because you need like the time frame, but you also have to get her there. So, but that could be a very good parallel for Cassian, I think. He also said, but what happens to the original gangsters? What happens to the outliers? What happens to the people who were every revolution consumes people and glorifies people, and not always the people that did the thing that mattered? How do you scale up something that essentially does not thrive in sunshine? How do you do that? And those issues and all the chaos of what is going to be of great interest to us going forward. Duncan Powell, who plays Melshi, will be back. Obviously, we're playing there with that because he's going to be in Rogue One. And then he kind of talked briefly about getting the directors back because he wanted to get some of the original season 1 directors back, but just with scheduling, it really didn't work out. So that's why they had to pull in the other directors. So, yeah. So what were your overall thoughts with Andor season 1?
I am honestly, every episode I loved a little bit more than the one before it, and I loved every episode very much.
Yeah, I think it went about the same for me. I was a little like hesitant on the first 3 episodes, and I was like, "Oh, okay, like this is going to work by the 3rd episode." But then like episodes 4 through
It was like it just
4
kept
through 11,
building.
yeah, those episodes it was like bam, 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 and then the finale I was like, and it was more like it was like little nitpicky stuff, but I think like overall the rebellion scene really worked for me. So
Especially when you got like the 3 marching bands all kind of converging on that
was
square
so
together.
great. Oh, the music in general for the show was very great.
Especially the fact that, as I recall, they actually had like a live band playing for like the entire film for the filming for the entire series. So like you walk on set and you hear this music playing in the background as you're shooting this scene.
That's what they said in the interview, was that they had like that the music was meant to be played on set. And I can totally see that,
Yeah,
because there's
you just
just it
get
helps with the
you get to
tension
just
so
kind of,
much.
yeah, you get to just feel kind of the energy from that music and then kind of channel that into the performance that you're giving.
Yep, 100%. All right. So the next bit of news uh is with Ashley Eckstein, who is the voice actress for Ahsoka Tano in animation. And she was talking with Looper, and she revealed that she actually got to visit the set of the live action Ahsoka series. And so she did not really talk about anything in particular. She said that she finally got to meet Rosario Dawson, and that she got to see two different scenes being filmed. So I just thought it was a cool note, bringing her in. I think it's really important, because
Oh,
she's done so much for the character and continues to do it. So
I'm so glad that she got to visit the set and just kind of bond a bit with Rosario Dawson, because like they've both done just such an amazing job portraying that character together. It's, you know, it's a great thing to bond over.
absolutely. And it's interesting to kind of see. She said that she did not end up with a cameo in season one, but she also said, oh, there's always season two. So, with the original intent of this being a limited series, I think is what it was originally announced. That's interesting to kind of see if that's going to change. So,
Even if it ends up being just a one season, I think we can safely say it won't be the last time we see we see a live action Ahsoka.
I would definitely doubt it, because I think there's way too much to lose with that. Even though I have issues with Filoni in live action, I do think you can't waste Ahsoka in live action. So, I'm not gonna harp on it. I'm not gonna harp on it. Y'all can listen to previous episodes for that. But no, I super excited for Ashley, and I'm glad to see that she continues to still work with Star Wars even after like not being cast as Ahsoka. So
The thing that she does that I very much absolutely love, because it's when I took over doing our social media last year, a few people that I kind of took some inspiration from on how to run it was Mark Hamill, just kind of the way that he interacts with fans online. Ashley Eckstein, how she's just always very positive and uplifting of, you know, kind of everyone around her. Those are just kind of two of the big inspirations, was just kind of taking that positivity and trying to kind of channel it into something that we can use to kind of lift everyone else up around us.
yeah. And I think that's such a great idea, because like being a part of a bigger organization, or being a part of something that's been a part of fandom for so long, like you want to be able to use that to your advantage, but also make sure that, because the fans have been so involved, like you want to make sure you're still appreciating them, but and not being like a butthole. So
Yeah.
all right. I think it's time for the main topic, and I am not excited for this at all, but we got to talk about it. Uh, so, oh, what was it? I think it was Wednesday night, or was it Tuesday night? Bob Iger came back.
I want to say it
Uh,
was Tuesday, but I'm not gonna bet money on that because I barely remember yesterday.
I don't remember. Yeah, because last week was absolute insanity, but he has come back to Star Wars. Bob Chapek has been let go effective immediately with his full salary, which I hate rich people, and their contracts. Um, so Bob Iger is back for 2 years, with the promise in his contract that they will work on bringing someone in so he can train them up to, I guess, his standards, to make sure that the organization is good to go at the end of 2 years, um, for when he officially retires again. Um, and so, with that being said, Kathleen Kennedy, uh, her contract is set to end in is 2025, I think.
I believe it
Yeah,
was, yeah.
2025. And so and especially with Iger coming back, Iger is such a big supporter of Kennedy. People are like, oh, okay, well, she'll be set. No need to worry. Even with the trolls and incessant fire Kathleen Kennedy now commentary. But actually, John and I, Campia, a famous YouTuber who broke embargo on Andor, revealed on his live show that he has two sources that are 100%, or actually he says 1,000% average on the things they've informed him of, have informed him that the decision to remove Kennedy has already been made and she will be gone either sometime before or very, very, very shortly thereafter the release of Indiana Jones 5. He cannot independently say that this is a fact, but he's just using the sources. And he says one of the two people that have contacted him has 1,000% average on everything. So not both, but still there. How do you feel about this?
Personally, like I know a lot of people weren't happy with a lot of the things she's done, but I like a lot of the work that she's done. I think that she's been doing the best that she can, and she's definitely got a lot of the right people in the right places for this. So I could see her staying on for a few more years.
I I think so as well. While I think they could be doing more work in the movie zone to kind of figure that out and get Star Wars back in theaters. I think a lot of the stuff that she's put out, whether it's the sequel trilogy, or Disney Plus, I think those have been some really smart moves, as well as enabling the High Republic to go forward. I think that was a very smart move with her leading the story group. Um, so as much as I want Star Wars back in theaters, I don't necessarily want to see her go. But I also don't want to see her go because I don't want the trolls to win. So I don't I love what she's done with Star Wars, most of it. And I think she can continue to do an incredible job leading Lucasfilm. So I want to see that continue. Um the whole reason I
I
didn't want to talk
I
about
would
this
agree
was
with
because I didn't want to give it to trolls. I'm
that.
sorry, what did you say?
No, and I honestly would love to see her stick around for a bit longer. Like you mentioned, like they've had great success with Disney Plus launches, and just like the strategies that their like media teams have been doing with it is just absolutely phenomenal. Especially when you get kind of like hinting to a couple of people that something's going to drop a little bit earlier to get a little bit of hype going on it, then giving something back to the fans with here's 3 episodes at launch and we're going to drop it a few hours early. It's kind of a nice way to give back and give a little bit of love back to the fans.
Yeah, I think so 100% cuz yeah, I mean, especially with Obi-Wan Kenobi dropping at Celebration, like people were like my phone blew up because Obi-Wan Kenobi dropped early. Like everyone knew like oh, Katie's going to sleep so she can get up at 3 a.m. to watch it and like oh, hey, we need to let her know so that she can just stay up instead. Because I live on the East Coast. So it's like
So, fun story from that. So the day that Obi-Wan Kenobi was actually launching, when it was supposed to be like the original 3 a.m., that morning I was flying out to LA for a convention that Fandom, our host company, they were doing their annual Community Connect, where they get a bunch of people from the fandom platform together, and essentially just a giant workshop weekend where we just do panels, we give feedback and suggestions, and just generally kind of come in, get to meet each other, do a bit of collaboration in real life, and have some fun. I found out the night before. I had heard a rumor from a friend of mine who was in attendance when they were kind of hinting at it, and they messaged me like, "Hey, I'm hearing it's going to be dropping a little bit early." So I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I'll just stay up till midnight. I'll watch the first episode. I'll get a few hours of sleep. Get up early, head to the airport. I'll get like maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep. I can sleep on the plane. So I, of course, immediately messaged Brandon Ray, who's Fandom's VP of Community, who I believe also had an early morning departure. And he's like, "Fuck, okay, I'm staying up too." When all was said and done, I think none of us got any real sleep that night. All of us arrived very sleep deprived. I think I was up for probably unless you count napping for an hour on the plane, I was probably up for like 23 hours straight. But I watched the premiere,
Wow.
so you know what? I call that a win.
Absolutely.
Let's just say when we
No,
did the giant group dinner that night, though, there was definitely a couple of us sleep deprived in there.
Yeah, I think for me, I was up watching softball, and that was the only reason I was up, was the game had gone into extra innings. And so people had texted me and were like, "Oh, do this." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So, whatever works. Um no, the whole reason I didn't want to talk about it was because I don't like giving into trolls. And I think these kind of rumors do lead into this. And I also don't like Campia. So it's always tough to talk about, but I hope Kennedy stays around. So
the thing that I always try to highlight across all of, not just across like all of our social platforms, but just in general whenever I'm talking to people, is like, we all have something to love about this universe. That's kind of what brings us all together. You know what? You don't have to like everything, but it's good to always keep in mind that, you know, what you dislike, someone else is going to like and maybe even find some sort of inspiration or guidance from.
yeah. And that's what we always say around here. If you don't like it, you still have what you love in Star Wars. So
Exactly.
whether that's sequel trilogy, prequels, originals, legends, take your pick. It's always there. So all right. Well, that brings us to the end of the news discussion. So Jordan, tell us a little about what you do at Wikipedia, and if someone's looking to get involved, what would they do?
So, to give the brief rundown, and for anyone who doesn't know what Wikipedia is, if you've kind of been living under a rock, you know what? That's fine. Wikipedia is essentially, it's a Star Wars version of Wikipedia. If something's existed in Star Wars in any way, shape, or form, be it a mention, an appearance, a TV series, we probably have it documented on there with over, and actually, you know what? I'm actually going to get the actual page count. At present, we have 179,122 articles about all things Star Wars. That's anything ranging from articles about TV series, episodes, individual books and comics, video games. Like I said, if it exists in Star Wars, we document it, we cover it, and we try to have everything about it.
It has been a great resource. Everyone always comments on some of my Star Wars knowledge, and it'll be like mid podcast and clearly like, I can't believe you knew that. I was like, I looked it up on Wikipedia. So it's always fun. Oh, he went out. Brief hold. 37, 30. Technical difficulties. Is it me? Am I the problem? Hello? I think I'm fine. Screw you, YouTube. I would like to just check. Oh, okay. We're gonna remove him. And hello, welcome back.
There we are. Thank you, rural internet, for cutting me off right in the middle of my little introduction about Wikipedia. I don't know if we lost. Did we lose any of that, or did that first part kind of come through clearly?
I think the first part came through. I had said what I heard was we got 179,000 articles, and I made a comment about how people always comment on my Star Wars knowledge when I'm throwing out facts mid podcast, and I'll be like, I got it from Wikipedia. Like, I don't know that off the top of my head.
That's honestly one of the most fun things about doing our social media, is just getting to see people sharing the absolute random things that they find, things that probably most of us don't even know exist, and someone just happens to know this fact, and they're like, oh yeah, I found it on there. And it's like, we haven't even seen every article on our site, and we're the ones hosting it. No, but yeah. So it's if there's a topic about Star Wars, we cover it in some way, shape, or form. Our goal is quite simply put to be the definitive authoritative source on everything. If it exists, we want to document it. Um, if somebody wants to get involved, Wikipedia is entirely fan run. We're all just doing this as a hobby in our spare time. So everyone who is on the site is doing, full time job. They're doing schooling. They have an entire life outside of here. So new help is always welcome because, as we're well aware, there's no shortage of material coming out.
No. Yeah, because like I've always wanted to, but I'm always like nervous because I get this kind of thing like because I write reviews, and so I was writing a Wheel of Time review for Full Circle Cinema, and I like wrote on the review, oh, there was 13 people, and somebody was in the comments and they're like, no, there was 12, you idiot, and like came back and I'm like, I'm always nervous about that because I'm like, I don't want those responses. Like, what if I put something wrong?
See, and the beautiful thing about it is, even if you happen to make a mistake about something, that's totally fine because there is an entire community that will try to catch that for you.
That's always appreciated. As long as nobody's rude. So we'll see. We'll see if the great Katie mind. Everybody likes to call me a Jedi Master in my Full Circle Cinema group. And we'll see if I can have time to do it. Probably not. That's what running 2 podcasts will do to you.
Oh, believe me, I know all too well about how hard it is trying to do everything in one single day. Actually, I'm going to give your listeners a little sneak peek into something that we're kind of working on right now with Mike Chen, the author of Brotherhood.
Ah!
If anyone hasn't read Brotherhood, please read it. It's an amazing novel. We're working on setting up a giveaway with him where we're going to be doing probably something along the lines of a retweet this post and comment your favorite scene to be entered into a draw to win a signed personalized copy of the book. The personalized copy will most likely also include a couple little notes from Mike Chen about his thought process into whatever their favorite scene was in that novel.
Ooh, very nice. I love getting sneak peeks.
That's our little sneak peek. And if that goes well, there is a couple other authors that have also expressed some interest in doing this in the future. So here's hoping this is the start of something that we can have a lot of fun with.
Please tell me Adam Christopher is going to do Shadow of the Sith. Please.
I haven't had a chance to reach out to him yet, but I suspect that he probably would be interested. I got to meet him briefly at New York Comic Con. He's such a nice guy.
He was such a great interviewer. Like, we did an interview right before Shadow of the Sith came out. He was so nice. But yes, shameless plug. Go check out our Brotherhood review. And then go check out our interview with Adam Christopher, as well as our review of Shadow of the Sith, because those are both 2 great books. And the interview was great, if I do say so myself. So all right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share kind of about your day-to-day or Wikipedia in general?
I think the best piece of advice that I can give, and I try to share this advice wherever I can, is that if you want to contribute to Wikipedia, you can. There's no barriers to prevent that. You don't have to worry about breaking the site. Trust me, you will not break it. It's physically impossible, I hope.
I don't know. You haven't seen me.
But ultimately, it comes down to if you want to contribute, you know what? You can. That's perfectly fine. Everyone is more than welcome, and we're happy to help people get started. There is a learning curve involved, and it can be scary, especially when you're looking at it like there's over 100,000 articles here. We all started exactly where you are, just unsure about what to do or how to get started. Look at us now.
Exactly. And that's great. You never can get there if you don't start, people. And I keep telling myself that.
The sooner we get more people on board, the sooner we can finish this site and retire.
I don't know if that's ever gonna happen.
No, we don't want to.
What's gonna happen when Disney reboots and then you have Canon, Legends, and Legends number 2?
the first thing we'll do is go yelling at the person who does a lot of our backend coding, Cade, to develop a new tab system. He's the one who he actually designed like the entire implementation process for the previous one. Bless his soul.
Which I greatly appreciate. Having both on the same page is way easier, I think. So
See, and the original thing for the tab system of having like a canon tab and a legends tab, the implementation for that was largely done by bot, and without that, it would have been nearly impossible to make it work because you had to take every single page on the site, essentially move it to either /legends or /canon. It would have been a nightmare involving a million plus manual edits.
Yep. As a software engineer, I understand completely what you're saying.
Hey, we can always use more engineers.
I'd have to get paid for that.
We have no budget.
All right. Well, Jordan, let us know where they can find you. Also plug anything you want. Obviously, you plugged the giveaway, but
so you can find the site at starwars.fandom.com. You can find a link on there to our Discord channel as well. Even if you're not an editor, you're more than welcome to hang out in there. You just won't have full access because there's a couple of channels that are limited to people who are editing. But you'll still have access to some discussions channels where you can just kind of have a good time and hang out. You can find us on Twitter at @WookOfficial, and that's the one that we're mostly active on and where you can probably find me at all times of the day. Please feel free to shoot us a DM on there. You can find us on Instagram at Wikipedia, and you can find us on YouTube as well. If you search for Wikipedia, you'll probably find us in the top results. Please check out our channel. Our channel needs more viewers. There's my shameless plug of my other side project. I do a lot of our social stuff is kind of my baby, so feel free to go check it out.
Yeah, definitely. I love being a Twitter person. I love the Twitter. So
oh, and you can also find us now on Hive at Wikipedia.
Yes, because you never know when Twitter is going to just collapse and
exactly
won't have any warning whatsoever.
Hopefully it's before hopefully by that point the Android app for Hive is fixed so that I can start having some fun on there.
Yeah, I have an iPhone, but I know a couple people have been frustrated. For me, I haven't been using Hive as much as I probably should with everybody getting on there, because I hate social media so much, and I only have energy for one platform.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Oh, 100%, 100%. So, all right. Well, Jordan, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. So I can kind of finish some stuff out. Once again, thank you so much for being here. This was a blast. So.
That's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having us, and it was very nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you too. All right. Well, y'all, you know where to find me. I am on Twitter and Instagram as well as Hive. It's at Slice of Katie. This show you can find on Twitter and Instagram. It is at Star Wars Alliance, spelled the A in the Wars. Very important. Don't forget it. And you can also reach us on Gmail, the same username at gmail.com. If you don't have any social media or anything. So that way, if you have show questions or just want to reach out in general, you can hit us up there. Clay will be back next week. We will be talking about all of the latest in Star Wars comics. That includes the High Republic Marvel, the High Republic Adventures, as well as Tales from the Rancor Pit, the Hidden Empire Volume 1, and Yoda one, as well as Star Wars Revelations, the one shot by Mark Guggenheim. My other show on the Geek Ultimate Podcast Network is at Slice of Film 1 on Twitter. That show, we recently just dropped Enchanted and Disenchanted, and I just realized that I forgot to tweet about those episodes. But you can go check them out now. Just scroll back in the feed a couple. So you can do that. The upcoming episodes for that include Avatar, Avatar 2, as well as the Glass Onion spoiler review. So that is what you can expect from both shows. With that, I want to share a great day or night, whatever time of day you are listening or watching, and we will see y'all next time. Bye, y'all.